What happens when two unstoppable forces collide? One, driven by the hunger for absolute power. The other, forged through pain and struggle. Dr. Doom, Iron Man. Today, their darkness will inspire you. Dr. Doom's dark power. Dr. Doom, a name that sends chills down the spine of his enemies. Not just because of his armor, his technology, or his sorcery, but because of his mind. His ambition is boundless. His hunger for power, endless. To Doom, the world is not a place for the weak. It's a battleground where only the most ruthless can survive. He understands a fundamental truth that most fear to admit. Power is not given. Power is taken. And Doom, he takes it without mercy. He doesn't just want power, he demands it. Doom's genius rivals the gods, and his will to dominate is unshakable. His mind, a fortress of steel. His heart, cold as ice. Every move, calculated. Every enemy, obliterated. But what makes Doom truly terrifying is his control. Not just over his enemies, but over himself. He knows no fear. He knows no doubt. His mind is unbreakable. His mission is clear. There is no room for weakness, only victory. Dr. Doom embodies power in its purest form. He doesn't bend. He doesn't break. When the world pushes, Doom pushes back harder. 2. Iron Man's rise from the darkness. And then there's Tony Stark, Iron Man, a man whose life was forged in the fires of failure. A man who wasn't born into greatness but built it with his own 2 hands. While Dr. Doom seeks power from the world, Tony Stark sought power within himself. He wasn't gifted with power. No, he created it. From the very depths of despair, Tony crafted his legacy. His suit wasn't just armor, it was his second chance at life. Tony's journey wasn't easy. It was filled with pain, loss, and regret. But every failure, every setback, he turned into fuel. Fuel to drive him forward. Fuel to make him unstoppable. Where Doom uses fear, Stark embraces failure. He knows that every fall is an opportunity to rise again. Iron Man is not just a hero, it's a symbol of resilience, a man who refuses to let his demons define him. Tony Stark's dark side isn't about domination, it's about survival. He fights not to rule, but to protect. And in that battle, he finds his strength, not in control, but in constant evolution. The clash of philosophies, Dr. Doom and Iron Man. 2 men with unmatched genius, but their paths couldn't be more different. One believes in domination, the other in redemption. One thrives on fear, the other on hope. But what ties them together is one simple truth: power must be earned. For Doom, power is about control. Controlling the world, controlling destiny, controlling everyone around him. His belief is simple: only the strong deserve to rule. Only the strong have the right to power. But for Tony Stark, power is about transformation. It's not about controlling the world. It's about changing it, building a future, not by force, but by sacrifice, by being willing to give up everything for a greater cause. And yet, both know the truth about power. It is not kind. It is not merciful. It is not easy. Whether you seize it with an iron fist like Doom or earn it through sacrifice like Iron Man, power demands one thing: everything. 4. The dark motivation. Dr. Doom. His obsession with power isn't just a desire, it's a need. To him, power is not a luxury, it's survival. The world is a cruel place, and Doom knows that if you aren't the one in control, someone else will control you. Doom's dark side is not born out of fear, it's born out of understanding. He knows that to survive in this world, you can't rely on others. You can't wait for someone to hand you your destiny. You must take it with force if necessary. His enemies call him a tyrant, a villain, but to Doom, they are just weaklings, too afraid to embrace what it takes to truly rule. His heart beats with the belief that only the strong should lead. And Doom is the strongest of them all, but with power comes isolation. Doom stands alone because he trusts no one. He sees betrayal in every face, weakness in every ally. And this is what makes him truly dangerous. Doom isn't held back by emotions, by friendships or love. His only love is power. 5. Iron Man's evolution. And then there's Tony Stark. He wasn't born a hero. In fact, Tony was once just as selfish, just as arrogant as Doom. But where Doom embraced the darkness of power, Stark fought against his own demons to become something greater. Tony's darkness doesn't come from a hunger for power. It comes from his battles with himself. Every time Tony looks in the mirror, he sees his flaw, his arrogance, his mistakes, his regrets. But it's these very flaws that push him to rise above. For Tony Stark, power is not about control. It's about redemption. Every suit he builds, every battle he fights, is a step toward becoming the man he wants to be, not the man he used to be. Unlike Doom, Tony knows that power can be shared. He builds alliances. He trusts his friends. But make no mistake, Tony Stark's darkness is not gone. It lives within him, reminding him every day that even the brightest heroes have shadows. And yet, through it all, Tony Stark chooses to fight, not just for himself, but for those he loves, for a world that doesn't always deserve saving. And that's his power, the ability to keep going, even when everything tells him to stop. 6. Doom and Iron Man, a clash of dark philosophies. So what happens when these two titans meet? When Dr. Doom's ruthless quest for domination collides with Iron Man's unyielding will to evolve? It's a battle of philosophies, control versus freedom, fear versus hope. Doom believes that power is something to be taken. He sees Tony Stark as weak, as someone who wastes his potential by caring too much. To Doom, emotions are chains that hold Stark back. But Stark knows something Doom doesn't. True power doesn't come from isolation. It comes from learning, from evolving. Both men have fallen. Both men have been broken. But where Doom builds walls, Stark builds bridges. Doom's strength comes from his refusal to trust anyone. Stark's strength comes from trusting himself enough to change. The ultimate message of dark motivation. So, what can you learn from these two legends? Whether you're like Doom, seeking power through control, or like Iron Man, building strength through evolution, there's one truth that both share. Power is not something you wait for. It's not something you hope will come. Power is something you take. But how you take it, that's up to you. Will you be like Doom, controlling everything and everyone around you? Or will you be like Iron Man, facing your flaws, growing from your failures, and rising from the ashes stronger than ever? The world doesn't care who you are. It cares what you do. So, the question is, what will you do? Will you let the world conquer you? Or will you rise up, take control, and seize your destiny? If this video inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful, dark motivation. Your time is now. Go take what's yours.